Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another SARE National session. My name is Jenny Anchondo, and I'm here today as your host and moderator for this session focused on how to buy and sell a business. It's an intriguing topic for so many. It can be a complex one as well. So we're really going to dive into it. So the format for today is this. We will hear from our speaker, Maria Santi. She will give a robust presentation on this topic of how to buy and sell a business. And then while you and I are taking notes and taking in the information on the back end, there will be a little bit of time to ask her some questions. So anything that comes up, I encourage you to type that into the chat just when it pops up into your head. My job here is as the note taker. So I'm welcoming you in, but I'm also really our record keeper for today and making sure that everybody gets the answers that they need throughout our hour together. So when we talk about this topic for today, it is this: how to buy and sell a business. We know that it's not always a simple transaction and that transfers of ownership can be very complex in who assigns rights in a contract. So you'll be learning the legal perspective on how to proceed if you are thinking about buying or selling a current business. Now, just to establish some leadership and ownership in this session, I want to tell you a little about Maria. This is actually part 2 in a 2-part series. She was here last week. If you did not show up for that session, or if you haven't seen the replay of that session, I really encourage you to hop on there. It's about the legal organization of your business. So she gave us a ton of information then. If you didn't see it, don't worry, today's will still make sense. She is an attorney where she focuses on providing exceptional legal services in business law and immigration law. So she has really expertise in both areas. She's a graduate of Washington University in St. Louis, where she earned her master's degree. Now, she's also attended school in Mexico, so she's bringing in both portions of that. She has a strong academic background and passion for advocacy, which drives her commitment to delivering tailored legal strategies that really make sure that her clients are supported throughout the entire legal process. Now, before being with the firm that she is with today, she honed her skills directing various outreach programs and events, and just gained some valuable experience in both the public and private sectors. So regardless of where you're coming from today, she has probably dealt with it. Her commitments to serving her community show that she has active participation in legal organizations. She has also been active with regard to offering pro bono work. Maria is an immigrant from Mexico, fluent in English and Spanish. Her enthusiasm for the law and her dedication to her clients make her a valuable asset to the firm and really an advocate for those who she represents. And it is nice for us to be able to have her here today, to be able to learn from her, learn from those years of experience, kind of all brought down into this hour-long session with her. So now I will mute myself and hand it right over to Maria. Maria, take it away.
Okay, so yes, today we're going to be talking about how to buy and sell a business, which is a very common transaction between business owners, but unfortunately is one of those that we don't put too much attention regarding on what are the legal steps that are necessary to transfer not only what it's considered the building or what it's considered the inventory or the assets of the business, but what it's important to it is to take care of all those non-tangible things that are part of a business that need to be transferred in a proper legal way. Okay. Legal disclaimer, of course. Remember that this presentation is an informal tool. Anything that comes out from it, including the pages and the legal content, do not apply to a specific case. Every person, every business owner, every situation requires a specific legal consultation, and each of them it is a specific case. This presentation does not create legal advice or an attorney-client relationship between the audience and my firm or myself. So no legal privilege or privilege of confidentiality applies. Okay, let's talk about business ownership. It's very common that whenever that we open a business, we start providing a service, providing a product, earning money, and we are into that commercial transaction. Of course, we have a business, but then what happens? What happens whenever that business it is registered properly with the Secretary of State of the state whenever you are located? In this case, Texas. We are in Texas. So let's say that you registered your business at the Texas Secretary of State, and you have an LLC or you have a corporation. Let's say, okay. Well, if you have an LLC, the LLC will be either managed by managers or will be managed by the members. The members are the people, the persons who have a membership interest in the company, which are the owners of the company. You can have a membership interest without being a manager, or you can be a manager without having a membership interest. That's talking about the LLC. So, who will have the right to sell the business? The managers or the members? The members, because they have a membership interest. Unless they are managing members, then they can take decisions on behalf of the business. But since they have also an interest in the business, they can sell the interest of that organization. If we are talking about a corporation, then we will talk about shareholders. Who are the shareholders? The shareholders are the owners of the corporation. The corporation interest, now they are called shares. It's not an interest anymore. It's a share. And obviously, we will have to have a board of directors that will manage the corporation on behalf of the shareholders, but the shareholders are the owners of the shares of that corporation. So whenever that a corporation would like to sell that organization, of course, it will have to go through the shareholders' decision in order to sell the share, to transfer the shares. Now, there is an important thing regarding either these two types of entities. These two types of entities, they might have assets. The assets of the entities are all those things that they can make possible the product or the exercise of a business activity or a commercial activity. That's completely different from the entity. An entity can sell the assets of that organization, and that doesn't mean that it disappears, that it's terminated, that it's not allowed to have another kind of assets afterwards. What an entity can do, it is to sell the assets of it. So this can be considered a sale of business. So what we will need to do, we will need to prepare an asset purchase agreement, which is when an entity sells the assets of the organization. As I said, the business assets, I like to call them the building blocks because pretty much are every single thing that you are going to put together in order to run your business. This is very important. Sometimes we think about assets as some things that we can touch, that we can see, that we can count, when it's not only like that. Whenever that we talk about assets, business assets, we can have tangible or non-tangible assets. The main importance about the business assets is that they will contribute to the healthy environment and the healthy generation of income, of revenue of our company. And the value that our asset have is going to determine or will help to determine in an overall situation, how much are we going to ask for our business? How much I'm going to offer if I want to buy that business, but overall, it will provide security that these assets, as they are together as building blocks, they are prepared to offer a good business, a valuable business, a business that operates with efficiency and legally. Now, obviously, we have to have security regarding this type of assets because even if we put all the blocks together, we need to talk about insurance. So if all these assets are covered by insurance or other measures to protect them, obviously this will be protecting the business. So remember, as business owners, we have we have profits, but we have losses as well. We have damages, we have responsibilities, we have liability. So the most that these building blocks are protected with insurance or other type of measures to protect our business, the best value that we can have if we need to sell our business, or the offer that we provide if we are going to buy a business, will be well backed up for something that will provide unexpected performance. Now, talking about tangible assets, remember, tangible is anything that we can see, that we can touch, that we can count, that we can smell, anything that it's uh, that we can use our senses in order to see them, to be able to have them in account in that in our business. We can talk about real estate. This it might include land, might include any kind of building. Let's say that you have a cafeteria and you would like to sell this business. Well, maybe you are only leasing the space from another person who owns the building, but maybe you are the owner of that building, and that building will be included as an asset, as a tangible asset of the business organization. So you will be in need of an additional transaction for the asset purchase agreement, for the the buy or sell of the business, because you will be including real estate. My recommendation here is, if you know that a real estate transaction will be involved on the buy or sell of the business, consult with an attorney, not only with a realtor. Yes, they know a lot, but there will be some type of situations that it will be necessary for an underwriter attorney, which is the attorney that takes care of anything regarding real estate and closings, for them to determine if there is any situation that might become an issue at the time that you're going to close for your business purchase. Now, equipment is a good, is anything that is necessary that will be used for the process, or for the business process. Anything that it will be necessary for you to create your product. Let's say that you have a bakery. Anything that is used, let's say all those big blenders and the ovens and maybe some freezers, etc. All that, it is considered equipment. Anything that it's used in order to help you to the business process, including a vehicle. If you have, I don't know, maybe you are in the transportation business and then you want to transfer it, you have vehicles. But let's say that you are a florist and then you have a vehicle that will be used to transport the deliveries or anything related to the exercise of the business, then that is considered equipment as well. Computers, that's very important. Nowadays, we need a computer for everything. Nowadays, we need an iPad for everything, right? And moreover, we have that type of business whenever that we receive clients and we have to prepare something at the time. Let's say maybe you have a restaurant, or maybe you have a bar or something like that. Whenever that you will have like a program loyalty, or you will be using an iPad or a computer in order to take orders, anything like that, it is considered equipment as well. Machinery, vehicles, computers, anything that it's used for the business process. Now, there is another type of tangible assets, which is inventory. Inventory, it is considered raw materials. Remember that I told you, if you have a bakery, what's your inventory? Well, milk, eggs, anything that you use in order to produce the product that you are going to sell, it is considered inventory. Okay, anything that has to do with a work in process product that you will have to use later for the product, that's considered inventory too. And that's also a tangible asset that you will have to put attention to in order to provide a list of the inventory or the tangible asset that will be included in your business transaction of selling or buying a business. Anything related to furniture, fixtures. Fixtures are those things that by its nature, they are affixed into something. Let's say that I have a chandelier, a wonderful chandelier that it's part of I don't know, a ballroom that I want to transfer, right? So that chandelier, it is so affixed to the ceiling, or maybe I have beautiful fixtures such as marble or wood, something that it has become part of something inside of that building. That's a fixture. So I'm not going to be able to separate it from what I want to sell. So that's considered a tangible asset as well. And yes, you have to write it down on the list of all those inventory of the assets that you have. Now let's talk about intangible assets. Those are the assets that you cannot see, but they are very important, that they are part of your business, such as the IP or intellectual property. How many times do we have a specific concussion that we put on the grass that we normally weed during our activities if we have a landscaping business? Or what about maybe a specific recipe of a coffee if we have a coffee place and we as baristas developed a specific way of preparing a specific formula. Anything that needs to be patent, copyright, or trademark, it is intellectual property. And this gives you the rights to sell them, to keep them, or to transfer them as well. Okay, so this doesn't mean that it's not an asset. That is, since it's not tangible, it doesn't count. And yes, it is. It counts because it is that specific thing that provides to your business or your product the characteristic that that has made you so successful in business, or that it will continue to provide the flow of having clients, because everybody looks for you because of that. Believe it or not, even the flavor of something, or the talking about sodas, the flavor of specific soda, it is patent, or maybe it is the shape of a specific soda, it's been trademarked, because that's how people recognizes and knows that that's the type of soda that they want. That's why it is very important to talk about intellectual property whenever that we transfer or buy a business. The goodwill, it is refer to all the reputation, to all the list of clients, to all let's call it as the brand recognition of our company, all the story, all the clients, all the details, and the information about how hard we have worked in order to have this clientele's book. That's very important. Why? Because maybe you have worked among a lot of years, and maybe your clients have been referring you in many ways, that now that's very valuable to you. I'm going to sell you a business that I know for sure that it has more than 125 clients. I'm going to sell you a business that I know that it has more than 700 bids a year, let's say, right? Or it has a lot of reputation. Reputation in a business is very important. That's why sometimes whenever that you want to acquire the licenses or something regarding franchise, that's why the corporation studies your reputation first, because they need to know if what they are selling, it's going to be in good hands to you. The investments is another tangible assets, as well as the software. Why? Because that's important for your business operation. That's part of the financial security that you are going to have for your business. And guess what? Social media is a tangible an intangible asset as well. Anything related to social media, anything related to websites or all these browsers that they give you now 5 stars or that they locate you easily if somebody types your name on any browser. All this is you need to sell it as well, or you need to buy it as well. Why? Because that's how you are known. Remember that the business that is not online pretty much doesn't exist. So you want to get all these details at the time that you are buying the business, because you are acquiring something that you didn't start, but that you want to continue with the same success as the previous owner, and you want to continue to provide the same service and the same quality service that the business has been offering among the years. Now, what are the legal assessments that need to take care for this type of transactions? Well, the first one, it is business valuation. So you will need to talk to a business expert, so they can help you to, number one, valuation is not only a thing of counting, again, how many machines do you have, how many tools do you have, how many tables you have. It's not like that. They need to set up a business valuation based on all the tangible things that I told you about before. And at the end, whenever that you have that business valuation, you can offer your business with the support, with the background that that's how much it is it is worth it. Why? Because sometimes we commit the mistake of not having a business valuation, and maybe I'm buying something that is not worth it. But I've been told that it is, and I'm going to invest all my earnings, all my savings on something that is not valuable as much as I was told. So a business valuation, I recommend this obviously under the care of a business advisor uh, for both parties. You take care, if you are selling, give a good price to your business, provide a good valuation to your business. If you are buying the business, don't make the mistake to believe that that business is worth $1 million when it's not. Okay. Due diligence refers to any type of, we need to look at any kind of liability, any kind of debt, any kind of financial statements that they are, uh, that they will be against the business or against the entity or against the people who are the members or the shareholders of the business. Why? Remember that whenever that you buy the business, you become the owner of everything. And if you have a liability in between that you didn't know about, unfortunately, you might be liable of that situation as well. You will become liable of anything that you didn't look into with more specific care because you didn't do a due diligence. Well, how do I do that? Go to talk to an attorney. We attorneys in business, that's what we do. And we know how to take care of that. Remember that a financing statement is not a thing that, oh, it's just there. No, sooner or later it's going to request from you or the business to be responsible for any liability that the business might have. Now, something very important, it is any type of resolutions that the entities might take. Okay, what has happened? What happens is that sometimes there are members that they agree that they want to sell the business, but there are some that they are not. They might be shareholders that they would like to keep the business, or they would like to just to yes to share to sell the assets. But how is this going to be supported? Who took the decision? Was there any meeting between the members or the shareholders of the entity deciding to sell the assets? How do you know that? There should be some resolutions. Again, this is a part that your business attorney can take care of and look with care in order for you to continue with your legal assessments. And one very, very important too, it is the tax implications. You need to check uh, how if you are selling the business, how that income is going to be allocated. Why? Because you are earning money, right, from selling your business. Well, you will need to talk to a CPA in order to see how the tax allocation will be prepared, or if you are the buyer, how this will bring tax implication into your new journey as a business owner. If we need to talk about recommendations for the seller and the buyer, well, we have a few here for the sellers. Remember that you as the seller, you need to have a business valuation. You need to know how much can you ask for that business, how much is for real worth it, because we can ask a lot, but what if we got short? What if you're asking too less for what it is worth it? You don't want that to happen to you. So let's find the right price through a business valuation. And who knows? Maybe you discover that what you thought that it was not worth it, now it is very and more important for the person who's going to be the buyer. Now, remember that we need to prepare different documents regarding this type of transactions. One of them, it is the buy-sell agreement, where the parties who are going to be part of this contract, they agree to the sell, to the purchase, or to conduct that purchase according these clauses. And among those clauses, we talk about the price, we talk about a closing date, we talk about any type of assets that are not included, any type of things that will be obligations for the buyer, obligation for the seller. And this document is very, very important. So you as the seller, you want to have this document as much revised by an attorney, or well, if you don't have an attorney, maybe you will regret it. So don't do that. You have to have due diligence, as I said. Ask your attorney to prepare a due diligence about not only, that you might have liabilities. You know that your business might have liabilities. Have you asked yourself if the person that you are about to sell your business has enough money, has a good economy in order for him to sign you a promissory note and buy your business? You don't know that. So this is something that you can also ask a due diligence on the other party as well. Now, how did you came up with an offer? Where did you set up that offer? Did you look online just for somebody who was trying to buy a business? Did you receive an offer by a friend? Or have you been working with a broker? How? Do you have a list of potential buyers? That's something very important too. Why? Because the best that the offer is received, that will give you enough time for you to prepare enough for all the documents and all the journey that you are about to start. Now, we always say, well, everybody has a little bit of good negotiator on ourselves. Yes, that's true. But you need somebody to be the advocate of what you want. So again, having a business attorney on your side will help you smoothly to do a better negotiation and on the closing process as well. As a buyer, well, the buyer has a little bit of more things to do. Why? Well, because you are about to sign an acquisition of a business, and an acquisition of new assets that you haven't had, same as the buyer for the later 30 years, the last 30 years, or who knows, maybe you are about to buy a law firm that has, I don't know, 52 years. And you need to know exactly what are you getting into. So if I will give you what do you need to do, well, an attorney through a good legal review, number one, will negotiate for you, will tell you which is the good price, which is the minimum price, etc. All these strategies of negotiation, we had to learn them. We had to study them. So sometimes it is easier for us to determine how much we can push, how much we can take out. So this is very important. The second part, it is the contracts. If you're gonna be buying only the assets, then you will have to look for a good attorney to prepare for you an asset purchase agreement. The asset purchase agreement is the first step that you and the other party will have to sign to say, hey, yes, we're going to do this. We are in a contract. It doesn't matter if it's going to take 35 or 40 days more in order to finish, to close everything. But there is a contract. You are already in that talk, in that negotiation, in that commercial transactions, that now it's going to give you enough time to go over any other document, any other requirement that you have. That's the first step, the asset purchase agreement. What contains an asset purchase agreement? Well, as we say, it has everything regarding the sales price, anything regarding the assets that will be conveyed, which assets are not going to be conveyed, anything regarding permits, contracts, accounts receivables. What is an account receivable? Oh, well, somebody owns money to the business, somebody owns money to the company. So that money, we will know if we're going to keep it or not. So that's part of that asset purchase agreement that we are going to be signing. Each part of the asset purchase agreement, it is called a schedule. That schedule, it will say, okay, this is Schedule A. Anything regarding the goodwill, anything regarding the inventory, anything regarding the intellectual property. So it's not as simple as just here, I'm gonna name you a new member of the LLC and that was it. No, it's not like that. You need to prepare every single document and have a good legal review by an attorney before signing any kind of documents. Remember that if there is real estate involved in this transaction, you will also need the advice of a real estate attorney in order to move smoothly through all the closing process of the real estate. Another another point that I would like to tell you about during the legal review and the legal process of this on your behalf as a buyer, it is the attorney will have to prepare for you a promissory note. A promissory note, it is the warranty of you paying that person for the total of the business. Maybe you are paying in a lump sum in cash, no problem, perfect. But what if you are not doing that and you will need sometimes some years in a specific interest rate for you to finish the payment, the full payment of that business? Well, you will need to sign a promissory note, and you want a promissory note as a buyer that it's as much into the legal squares, because you don't want to be paying too much interest annually, or you don't want to be paying something that you cannot afford. And then if you default on a promissory note, there is a lot of resources that the owner of the promissory note can do against you. You don't want that. Talking about a lease, if you are buying a business that it is located in a specific building, a specific retail space, maybe inside of a mall, or maybe on a square, a shopping square, a shopping place, etc., then you will have to check who the owner of that space is in order for them to provide you of a new lease, or see if there is a sublease agreement in the lease. There are different situations here, so that's another thing that you will have to take care of. Whenever that you continue with this list of things, you will have to sign a non-disclosure agreement or a non-compete agreement. Why? Well, you are putting all your money and all your investments in a business that you don't want tomorrow the person that sold you the business, the previous owner, to go put the same business around you, or to open a new business around you 2 blocks away. So there should be certain rules that in a non-compete agreement must be in writing and signed by the parties of this type of commercial transaction, because it's very important for you to have a peace of mind that you will be conducting your business in an environment that you will not have the competition of the same person that is selling you the business. This is very important. Same thing. You don't want everybody knowing about specific situations regarding the transaction. So what do you do? Well, let's sign a non-disclosure agreement. The non-disclosure agreement is very important too, because you are talking about specific trade secrets or copyrights, technical documentation, anything that needs to be protected for a certain amount of time during this type of transaction. Now, if we talk about which other part we can follow through this type of steps, obviously we will talk about if there is any personal requirement from the seller on you to provide a personal guarantee for him to be, let's say, on the safe side, that you will pay him. So if there will be a personal guarantee, of course you want your attorney to look at it and see how fair, how good it is into the square of law, and if it's good to continue with it, or I don't know, maybe your attorney has a different legal advice for you. Okay, so that was the end of our presentation today. If you have any questions, now is the time, and we are ready to answer any questions that we might have, Jenny.
Maria, thank you. And leave that up if you can, just for a minute. Sometimes it takes people a minute. Sometimes somebody wants to grab a screenshot on their phone. Sometimes they want to draft an email if they have a question. If sometimes, type the number into their phone. So go ahead and leave that up there just for a second while we kick things off. So thank you sincerely for just going through in such detail this process. Sometimes just it can be so daunting. It can prevent somebody from moving forward with not always with a sale, but with a purchase, thinking, gosh, I don't even know, legally how this works. So let's rewind quite a bit. And I have to say, like, for 30 minutes, you gave a very robust description of how this should work, but we'll just dive into a couple of other, a couple of those topics a little bit deeper. When somebody first thinks, you know what? I think I'm not going to start a business. I'm going to get out there and buy a business. What's the first step that they should take?
As I said, the first step, it is to count with the business valuation. You need to go look for a business advisor so you can get the help necessary in order to find out if that business is for you, if the business is, if you have what the business requires from you, and obviously if you have the like enough money in order to invest for that, because sometimes we want to get businesses that we know that they are very functional and exceptional to somebody that we know, but that doesn't mean that that kind of business is going to be the right business for us. My in this case, if the business advisor tells you, yes, the business is worth it, yes, I believe that you will have what it takes to run that business, then go ahead and start thinking on looking for a type of business like that to buy. But normally, we do everything in reverse. Normally, what we do it is to go get the business and then to start trying to get into the business requirements. If you have the chance to do that first, to see the business requirements first, to talk to the business advisor first, that's the best thing to do. Normally, whenever that we receive clients, they want us to give them our opinion regarding if it's a good business or if it's not. And we cannot do that. We are not business advisors. Let the legal part, let the contracts, and let anything that is regarding your rights, your liabilities, and the course of the good transaction of that commercial transaction to us. But we don't know if it's a good business for you or not. We don't know if you have what the business requires from you. So the first thing to do, it is go seek the advice of a business advisor.
I know that you had already kind of gone through that, but I think it's important to reiterate, right? To talk about that, because it's kind of confusing. Like, who do I ask first? And you know, a lot of times with these services, somebody's paying by the hour. And so if you accidentally start with the wrong person first, then you can be hundreds or thousands of dollars in before you figure out, oh, wait, I need to do my due diligence on this other section. So I think that's why this presentation is so valuable. I want to know, what is the biggest mistake that you see people making? We'll do twofold. First, biggest mistake you see when somebody is buying a business, and then we'll ask about biggest mistake when somebody's selling a business with regard to the legal part of it, the part that you know have dealt with.
I'll say that one of the biggest mistakes it is whenever that you want to buy a business without having an organization buying that business with you as a member of that organization. What I'm saying is this. Sometimes I, Maria Santi, want to go buy a florist shop or something as Maria Santi, in an individual, right? So I don't have any type of protection. I don't have any type of shield in order for me to go get and acquire all that business, the assets, the liabilities, everything. That means that I will be personally responsible. So sometimes the question is, well, but I'm a DBA. I can buy a business. Being a DBA and being a personal individual is the same thing. You are not separated from what you are about of you as a business. A DBA and an individual is the same person. So you are still being liable. You are still being responsible for any activity and for any decision that you make. And if you're going to buy a business that is full of liability, then guess what? You are personally liable as well. So the first recommendation is, okay, you want to buy a business. Good. Go talk to your attorney, and I bet that your attorney is going to let you know that the best thing for you, it is to acquire that business, but through an LLC, through maybe a PLLC, if it's going to be professional services, or maybe as a corporation, if it's a huge business, the one that you want to buy. But why? Because you are going to be providing extra protection to yourself. And the assets that you're about to buy or the business that you're about to buy, it is going to be purchased by the entity, not by yourself. Well, does that mean that I'm not does that mean that I am not the owner? No. You are the member. You rule the organization. Yes, The LLC has bought the business, but you still have an interest. Remember, you are still have interest in that LLC that will provide you of profits if that business goes well. But remember, the what I will not recommend to do is just you as an individual, you as a DBA, go get and buy a business. No, it's not the right thing to do.
So once you figured that out, what's the biggest mistake that you see when people are trying to sell?
The biggest mistake of people who's trying to sell, we talk about the one as a buyer. Now, as a seller, what's the biggest mistake? Well, believe it or not, sometimes a seller wants to sell and time is ticking, right? For them, they don't want to comply a lot of times with every single requirement of uh, preparing a good contract, letting their attorneys to draft a good contract. Everything needs time. This, you're about to sell a business, but you want to have what is worth it. You want to have the payment that is worth it, and you want to delegate everything in a better possible way. Because if you don't, remember that there is still some types of liability that you might be responsible for. So whenever that you're about to sell that business, remember that it's important to know how much your business is worth it, because maybe you are selling your business for less, or maybe you are overpricing your business and it's going to be very difficult for you to sell it. If your business is it includes real estate and you're about to sell the real estate as well, go with a specific title company. I mean, not a specific, a title company, or whoever can help you to get an appraisal, a current appraisal of the real estate, or to check if there is any maybe taxes that you haven't paid, and then you will have to face that in order to make a correct sale. So those will be the recommendation. And the unfortunately, the most current mistake is that we want to sell so fast that we forgot about the things that we would like to take care of in order for us to do a good sell. Another one, and I almost forgot, the tax allocation. That's very important. Talk to your CPA on how the money that you will be receiving for the sale of business is going to be allocated in order for you to have a break on taxes, or to have a well allocation that will allow you not to owe too many money in taxes at the end of the year.
I had muted myself because
Yes, you did.
we are having a crazy amount of thunder right now. I don't know if it's happening for you right now too, but it was like,
It was.
I was like, okay,
Yes.
I need to mute myself. Otherwise, no one's going to hear what Maria had to say. We're having a thunder day here in North Texas. So I'm glad to be inside here doing this in the, safety of our offices here. So now let's talk about a situation where legally, if there's a situation where you own a business with a business partner, but then you're selling it to one person, does that change anything with regard to how you prepare two people partnership to then one person, or one entity, one group?
Well, remember that whenever that there is a sale of a business when you are a partner, or if you would like to wind up a business whenever you are a partner, the partners in totality, they must agree.
Okay.
Because depending on the operative agreement that you might have with your partners, or this in case if you have an LLC, every single member has rights, and you have a fiduciary duty to each of the members. So it's not something just like, oh, I'm gonna sell it even if they don't want it. I'm sorry. No, that doesn't work like that. So you will have to have everybody on board in order for you to explain, okay, I want to sell my part. I cannot continue affording the business, or I'm not interested in the business anymore and I want to sell it, then you will have to be transparent and try to have the rest of the partners or members on board for that. You can then the remaining partners or the remaining members, they can say, yes, we agree, because we have in the operative agreement a clause that says that yes, that new members can come in, but we need to talk about it and we need to vote it. So that's another part of the resolutions that I talk about, that it's important to know if it's been complied or not. But just randomly and just deciding just by yourself, I'm going to sell and I don't care what my partner or the member says, is not correct.
Okay. Okay, that's great. That's helpful. And I know you'd kind of gone into that, but sometimes we just need that refresh. Follow me on this question here. Have you encountered a situation where somebody wants to buy a business but says that an improvement needs to be made before he or she will proceed with the purchase? Kind of like when somebody's buying a house and they say, well, the inspector said the roof's bad and I'm going to buy until, you fix the roof. What
Right, yeah.
actions?
Remember that we said that after we sign the asset purchase agreement, we have remaining days in order to close, maybe
Right.
30, 35, 40, 45, depending on how many days people choose. Normally, there are 45 days. So we have 45 days. On that time frame, we need to take care of anything that is required as repairs, maybe. You said, well, it needs to be repaired because of the painting, because of the AC, because of the, I don't know, new windows, etc., etc. So during that time frame, if you would like to continue with the agreement, with the transaction, then the seller has enough time in order to take care of that type of situations. It's not a matter of, oh, it's damaged, I'm done, bye. No, it's the seller and the buyer, they have together that time in order to cover, to cure all that situations that might arise during the inspections or anything that might need to be fixed.
Do you ever have it happen where two people went into business together, they were best buddies, everything was all good, and they thought, oh, we are never going to have any issues. We don't need to really have like a legal contract or anything. Well, then things go south, then they want to sell, and there's no sort of uh, prearranged agreement on how this is going to go. Do you have that happen? Is that common?
Of course, of course. And well, it's very common that normally people think, well, we didn't have an agreement. Sorry, we're going to do this my way or the highway. It's not like that. So we have a Texas Business Organization Code that will apply on those things that we didn't think about. So we didn't sign an operative agreement. We didn't say how the company is going to be wind up. We didn't say how new members are going to come, how a member might be um, um, substituted, or how a member might leave. Things that will affect the business, the organization. Well, we have a Texas Business Organization Code that will apply whenever that anything, whenever that the law was silent or we didn't prepare a document or anything that will cover that kind of situation. So it's not a matter of, oops, we didn't have a writing. Sorry, it's not like that.
So then, and they may have been thinking on the front end, like, we're not going to spend money on an attorney because we're already best buds and we've worked through so many things. Is it more expensive then on the back end to unravel it all?
Well, sometimes it's better to hire an attorney and spend money than spending money in court with a litigation that you don't want, right? Litigation nowadays is very, very expensive. Maybe you're gonna be spending, depending on the case, maybe $30,000-$40,000 to start. So maybe it's better for you to go look for an attorney advice before anything. And I bet that this will give you a peace of mind will do things smoothly and will provide you of better tools. And remember, we know the law. We study that, right? So it's not, we are a person that it's impartial, right? We are not one-sided. We need to be an advocate for you. So every penny that you spend, of course, we need to work and we need to provide you exactly how, what are we doing? And this way you will know that our work is there and that our knowledge is there. That's an ethical situation. We need to work for you. As soon as as we represent you, we need to work for you on your behalf. So yes, it is better to count with legal counsel on this type of matters now than afterwards. Who knows, a month, a year, 10 years, 15 years down the road, you get sued because of something that could have been done correct from the beginning.
Ah, yes, important to note that. I'm going to ask you one of those questions that I'm going to feel silly for asking it, but perhaps there's somebody who is wondering this too. And it's something I was thinking about this last session. I've thought about this for years. When somebody's billing, something like an attorney, you find out, okay, it's such and such per hour to work with this person. How do they keep track of those hours? How does that work? Is there a record keeping system? Is it sort of self-identifying? And is there any way to say, hey, how many hours is this going to take before I go forward with you, to find out if you can afford it?
Whenever you hire an attorney, we can do a flat rate on those matters that we know that we can handle on a flat rate. But whenever that, if there is something very complex or that will require hours, time, a little bit of more effort on your case, or let's say co-counseling, everything regarding to everything to provide you the best solution or the best legal advice to your case, then you will be asked for a retainer and we will work and charge against that retainer. But we have either or on a flat fee or on a retainer. We have the ethical obligation by law to give you a detailed story of the transactions, the time that we put into ABC transactions, ABC activities, how much we spent and how much you pay. And at the beginning of our client relationship, what attorney-client relationship, what we do it is to explain in the contract or the engagement letter, whenever that we provide the services for you, we need to let you know how much do we charge per hour. What do you expect from us as attorneys? What do we expect from you as our client? And all that comes in the same size letters in a contract. So my recommendation is whenever that you will hire an attorney, just put specific attention, time, and reading your contract.
I am so glad that I asked that. I'm so glad that we wrapped up with that. Maria, thank you for your candor and for bringing your intellect to us today. We so appreciate it. You guys, this is part 2 in a 2-part series. You can catch part 1 on Sarah National's YouTube channel, which is possibly where you will be watching this as well. That YouTube channel is like a full library. It's like a mini business school that you can get complimentary on the internet. And I will see you back here next week. Same time, same place. Talk to you soon, everybody. Bye-bye.